that some of the things seniors do at night could increase the risk of prostate cancer? If you're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, and you're waking up multiple times during the night to pee, feeling pressure in your lower abdomen, or sensing that something just isn't right, you're not alone. After years of hearing men discuss these issues in private, I can tell you this: most prostate problems aren't caused by age. They start with habits. In this video, we're going to cover 5 specific nighttime mistakes many seniors make without realizing the harm they're causing. These aren't extreme warnings or wild theories. They're backed by years of clinical experience, and they explain why some men continue to struggle with an enlarged prostate, even when they believe they're doing everything right. What's most frustrating is that these habits often seem harmless: a late glass of water, a heavy dinner, or ignoring the urge to pee before bed. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but to your prostate, these choices add up. Over time, they irritate, stretch, and wear down a gland that's already working harder as you age. Stick with me until the end of this video, because not only will we identify these 5 habits, but we'll also provide ways to gently reverse the damage. You might find that getting a full night's sleep, feeling lighter in your pelvic area, and regaining control can start with letting go of just one of these habits tonight. Let's begin. Number 1, drinking too much water before bed. One of the most common habits that silently stresses the prostate is drinking too much water late in the evening. It's understandable. Many people over 60 are advised to stay hydrated to support their kidneys, digestion, and overall health. But when most of that water is consumed after dinner, especially an hour or 2 before bed, it becomes a problem. Your prostate has to handle not just your bladder, but also the added liquid. As men age, the prostate tends to enlarge naturally. This enlargement narrows the urethra, slows urine flow, and makes it harder to completely empty the bladder. Now, imagine adding extra water to that system late at night. Instead of getting deep, uninterrupted rest, your body wakes up repeatedly to deal with the extra liquid. The bladder fills, sends signals, and the prostate is already under strain. Under pressure, the prostate struggles to function properly. You don't feel this right away. You might think, I'm just getting older, so of course I wake up a few times at night. But what's really happening is a cycle. Excess fluids lead to more pressure, and more pressure leads to more inflammation. Over time, this constant low-grade stress worsens prostate symptoms: more urgency, more bathroom trips, and more discomfort. I once spoke to an 82-year-old man named Walter, who swore by drinking 2 tall glasses of water before bed. He believed it helped flush out toxins overnight. However, he also shared that he hadn't slept through the night in over 10 years. After our conversation, he started drinking most of his water earlier in the day, especially before 6 p.m., and only sipping lightly after dinner. Within a week, he was waking up just once per night instead of 4 or 5 times. He said, "I thought I had a prostate problem, but it turned out I had a timing problem." Of course, you don't need to cut water completely. Hydration is still important. But adjusting your water intake to earlier in the day and limiting it after dinner can give your prostate the break it needs during the night. If you're thirsty late at night, take a small sip instead of a full glass. Listen to your body and let your prostate rest. You might be surprised how such a small change can affect the way you feel in the morning. Number 2, eating salty or processed foods at night. If you're like many older adults, dinner is often the heaviest meal of the day. A little comfort food in the evening, frozen dinners, canned soups, or deli meat, may seem harmless, but these high-salt, highly processed meals quietly set the stage for a difficult night. The issue isn't just the salt itself, but how salt affects your body. Salty foods cause your body to retain more fluid during the day, and this fluid tries to flush out while you sleep. This can increase nighttime urination, put more pressure on your bladder, and indirectly stress your prostate, which is already under strain. It's not just about how often you wake up during the night, but also how hard your body has to work while you should be resting. When you eat a high-sodium dinner, especially with processed ingredients, your kidneys and circulatory system remain active longer into the night. It prevents your body from fully relaxing into deep, restorative sleep. For men with an enlarged prostate, this means the pelvic area stays tense, swollen, and irritated. The result? You wake up feeling heavy, tired, and more inflamed than the day before. I remember a 76-year-old man named Glenn who came in complaining about constant nighttime urination. He kept saying, "I don't understand it. I don't drink water late, and I even go before bed." However, after discussing his dinners, it turned out he was eating canned chili, TV dinners, and salty snack mixes most evenings, thinking they were quick and easy options. Once he switched to lighter meals with fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and less sodium, his body calmed down. Within 3 nights, he said, "I didn't realize how much tension was building up down there." Your prostate doesn't just react to liquids, it responds to the overall state of your body. Salty, processed foods change that state. They raise blood pressure, reduce circulation, and make it harder for the body to drain fluids efficiently. This means more pressure on the bladder, increased irritation in the prostate, and more trips to the bathroom when you're trying to sleep. Instead of eating meals full of salt and preservatives, try a gentler dinner. Think simple: steamed vegetables, grilled chicken or fish, or a bowl of warm brown rice or oatmeal, something that fills you up without weighing you down. Number 3, holding in urine during the night. Many older men wake up in the middle of the night feeling the need to go but resist. Maybe they're too tired, or it's just easier to turn over and try to fall back asleep. But what most don't realize is that holding in urine during the night can strain both the bladder and prostate in ways that build up over time. When you resist the urge to urinate, your bladder continues to fill and stretch. At first, this might seem harmless, but as it expands, the bladder walls become thinner, less elastic, and more irritable. Here's where it affects the prostate. The longer the urine stays inside, the more pressure builds in the lower urinary tract. That pressure pushes against the prostate, especially if it's already enlarged. Over time, this can lead to more inflammation, slower urine flow, and a higher risk of infection. It's not just a comfort issue, it's a mechanical one. A full bladder makes it harder to fully empty later, leaving residual urine that creates an environment where bacteria can grow, leading to irritation, frequent urges, and in some cases, painful infections. For an older man with an enlarged prostate, this can significantly increase discomfort and health risks. For a man with an already sensitive prostate, holding in urine is the last thing he needs. I once spoke with Leonard, an 81-year-old man who had a habit of waiting until morning to relieve himself. He told me, "I just don't want to get out of bed unless I absolutely have to." However, he also shared that his lower abdomen often felt tight by morning, and sometimes even after urinating, he still felt like something was left behind. I encouraged him to get up and go when the urge hit, even if it was just once or twice a night. Within a few days, he noticed less pressure, fewer lingering sensations, and better flow in the morning. He later said, "My body was telling me what it needed. I was just ignoring it." Your body has built-in signals for a reason. When it tells you to release, it's not just for comfort, it's for health. The longer you hold, the more tension you carry. And the more tension builds, the more inflamed and swollen your prostate can become. Of course, you don't want to be jumping up every hour, which is why avoiding excess fluids and salty foods late at night helps. But when the urge comes, don't ignore it. Respond gently, let your body reset, and your prostate will thank you for it. Number 4, sleeping on your stomach. Among all the sleep positions, sleeping on your stomach might seem the least connected to prostate health. But if you're over 60 and tend to sleep face down, your posture could be applying consistent pressure right where your body doesn't need it, the pelvic region. Here's what happens. When you sleep on your stomach, your body weight shifts forward, putting subtle but continuous pressure on your lower abdomen, bladder, and the area surrounding your prostate. It may not feel obvious at first, especially if you've been doing it for years, but over time, this position can interfere with blood flow, increase pelvic tension, and hinder proper drainage of the lower urinary tract. The prostate is small, but it's highly sensitive to inflammation and congestion. Even small changes in pressure, especially repeated night after night, can contribute to discomfort, swelling, and slower urine flow. For someone already experiencing an enlarged prostate, sleeping on the stomach can make symptoms worse without you even realizing why. I once spoke with a 74-year-old man named Harold who developed tightness in his lower abdomen, which seemed to appear most mornings. He thought it was digestive, but after examining his habits, we realized he always fell asleep on his stomach with a leg curled up to the side. After switching to side sleeping with a pillow between his knees, he reported back weeks later, saying, "I didn't realize how much tension I was holding down there until I let it go." You don't have to force yourself into an uncomfortable position, but experimenting with new sleep habits can make a significant difference. Side sleeping, especially on your left side, helps reduce pressure on your internal organs and improve circulation to the pelvic area. Some men also find relief by slightly elevating their legs or using a wedge pillow to reduce downward pressure on the bladder and prostate. It's a small change, but it can make a big difference over time. Since you spend 6 to 8 hours each night in that position, even a slight adjustment can create major improvements for your prostate. If you're dealing with nighttime urgency, lower belly pressure, or just don't feel rested in the morning, consider how you're sleeping. A small change tonight might ease your prostate symptoms tomorrow. Number 5, ignoring the urge to urinate before bed. It might seem like a minor thing. Maybe you're already in bed, comfortable, and you think, "I'll just go in the morning." But for older men, especially those with an aging or enlarged prostate, ignoring that final urge to urinate before sleep can cause more problems than you might realize. Here's why. When you go to bed with a partially full bladder, the urine sits for hours. It applies gentle but steady pressure on your bladder walls and indirectly on your prostate. Over time, that residual pressure isn't just physical, it becomes inflammatory. It signals your body that something isn't being handled, and your prostate starts responding in ways that aren't always beneficial. As the prostate enlarges with age, it already presses on the urethra, the tube that carries urine out. Leaving urine in overnight creates an ideal environment for irritation, bacterial growth, and mild swelling, especially if your bladder doesn't fully empty when you finally do go. That leftover urine creates a breeding ground for low-level inflammation, and the longer this happens, the more it can affect your daily comfort. I once spoke with a 69-year-old man named Peter, who had a habit of avoiding the bathroom before bed. He said, "I never felt like I had to go that badly, so I just didn't." Over time, he began waking up more frequently at night and noticed it was harder to fully empty his bladder in the morning. Once he made a habit of using the bathroom every night before bed, even when he didn't feel the urge, he noticed real improvements: fewer interruptions, easier mornings, and less tension in his pelvic area. Urination isn't just about urgency, it's about maintenance. Emptying your bladder before bed resets the system, gives your prostate a break, and allows your body to rest without internal pressure building up overnight. Even if the urge feels mild, responding to it reinforces your body's rhythm and balance. Some men find it helpful to include this as part of their bedtime routine. Brush your teeth, wash your face, and go. Even if it's just a little. It's not about how much, it's about telling your system, we're done for the day. Your prostate will thank you, and so will your sleep. It's a small step, but over time it can help reduce swelling, lower nighttime urgency, and support a healthier, more peaceful rhythm in your lower body. Final thoughts. Many men quietly accept prostate problems as just another part of getting older. The late-night bathroom trips, the constant pressure, the feeling of never fully emptying the bladder. But what if some of that discomfort wasn't just due to aging? What if it was a result of habits? And what if changing just a few small things at night could provide relief to your body and prostate? Today, we looked at 5 habits many older men unknowingly engage in: drinking too much water late, eating salty or processed, dinners, holding in urine, sleeping in positions that press on the pelvis, and skipping that final trip to the bathroom. None of these habits seem dangerous, but over time they quietly add pressure, slow down drainage, and make an already sensitive prostate work harder than it should. The good news is that your body wants to recover. It doesn't need a miracle supplement or an extreme lifestyle change. It just needs you to stop doing things that harm it. Let go of the habits that make your nights harder and your mornings heavier. Give your prostate what it's been asking for: a little more space, a little more rest, and a little less stress. Which of these habits do you think you've been doing without realizing it? Which one will you try changing tonight? Leave a comment and share your experience. Even the smallest change could lead to better sleep, improved flow, and a better quality of life. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments motivates and encourages us. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.